No mai whakarongo mai, ki te aotai whenua. Welcome to Country Life, I'm Janina Schwannecker.
Great to have your company. I'm Duncan Smith.
Today, we step inside a greenhouse, helping grow leafy greens all year round.
And we meet a couple offering avocado tours near Katikati. Quite a change from their previous jobs in IT.
Later, we check out Hawke's Bay's new farm walk at a coastal station.
But first, to a wrap of what's been making headlines on the Rural News Desk this week. Federated Farmers has welcomed the government's proposed shake-up of regional councils. The group has been pressing for reform for decades, saying local government is awash with inefficiency and duplication. Local government spokesperson Sandra Faulkner says whichever model is adopted must ensure transparency around how rural rates are spent.
This reform across RMA, across freshwater and across local government is needed to happen for quite some time. Some of the rates bills for our rural ratepayers are exorbitant. So linking outcomes with that expenditure, then I would think that we are able to create a model that gives us confidence as ratepayers that that money is getting spent well.
There are fears the proposed changes will weaken environmental management and local democracy, but Sandra Faulkner says people should feel assured reform will address concerns. Consultation is open until February before legislation is introduced next year.
A Waikato pig farm has received a record fine for discharging pig waste illegally. Rāwhiti Environmental Park has been convicted on 8 charges and fined nearly $500,000 for persistent breaches, including discharging effluent into streams of the Kaimai Mamaku range. The Waikato Regional Council has spent a year investigating the piggery, which can house 6,500 pigs. Compliance Manager Patrick Lynch says the offending could have had severe impacts on the Waiho River and soil and marine life.
We try to do what we can with the resources that we've got. We can show that in this case, look, it's a very significant outcome. It's a real deterrent for this company, but should be a deterrent for others as well.
The fine is the largest imposed under the Resource Management Act in its 34-year history. The farm can continue to operate and will face continued monitoring.
The Associate Agriculture Minister and former Federated Farmers President Andrew Hogg has sought to defend his handling of the agriculture portfolio. In the past few months, he's drawn intense criticism from animal welfare organisations, the latest for controversial new pig welfare regulations. The group SAFE has accused him of a lack of impartiality and conflicts of interest, urging he be stripped of the portfolio. But Mr Hoggard says his farming background makes him more than qualified for the role. The Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, says Mr Hoggard has assured his office that he's followed guidance under the Cabinet manual.
Beef mince is losing its status as the affordable go-to for budget-conscious households. New figures show in the year to October, the price of a 1 kilo pack rose, on average 18%, compared to nearly 5% for food prices overall. Rabo Research Senior Analyst Jen Corcoran says beef mince has jumped far faster than most staples and is now slightly more expensive than lamb chops.
New Zealand exports most of our beef, 80-odd%, and our biggest market actually, the most volume, is going over to the United States, where their cattle herd is at sort of multi-decade lows. And as they look to rebuild their herd, they're short of this lean trim product, which is essentially the same as our beef mince in the supermarket. And so, our local retailers are having to pay more to get hold of that product.
Meanwhile, New Zealand's meat export earnings have hit a major milestone, topping $10 billion in the year to October, the highest on record. And the red meat processor Alliance Group has bounced back after 2 tough years, reporting a $24.6 million profit before tax. It's a $93 million turnaround, following a net loss of $120 million the year before. The group's chair, Mark Wynne, says the company is now on a firmer footing ahead of its new joint venture partnership with Ireland's Dawn Meats.
New Zealand and European scientists are working on a project to better understand how much carbon is stored by the world's forests. Sites in Northland, Auckland and Tararua district have been chosen as validation sites for the European Space Agency's biomass satellite mission. Here's Dean Meeson of the Bioeconomy Science Institute.
we'll be focusing of looking, not only just validating what the biomass mission is measuring from space in terms of how big the trees are and how much vegetation are in forests, but how that connects to water and how much water is in trees and how that connects to what's in the soil and how that changes throughout the year when we go from wet periods in winter to dry periods in summer.
Growers are busy harvesting the first of this year's cherries in the run-up to Christmas. Cherry exports hit a record last season, with more than 5,000 tonnes netting about $124 million. Mike Casey, who grows cherries just north of Cromwell, expects to grow about 80 tonnes this year. He says this will be down on last year's volumes though, because of the cold snap that came through in November.
We had the biggest snowfall of the season, I think, after the ski fields had already shut. As a result, we're going through a natural process at the moment called shedding, which is where the trees drop a lot of cherries that, for whatever reason, were not going to be viable. And we're noticing some bigger shedding than what we normally see. We might be down 5 to 10% on last year, but nothing outrageous. It could have been a season ender, so I think we've got to count our lucky stars there.
Mike Casey says fewer cherries on the tree might make for better quality fruit, though. The main harvest starts in January.
And just lastly, sheepdog trials are returning to the big screen in a new broadcasting deal for next year's New Zealand Rural Games. Games founder Steve Hollander says the agreement with TVNZ marks a new phase for the Games held annually in Palmerston North. He says a factor sealing the deal was the huge attraction of one of their sports.
Those of us who are a little bit long in the tooth can remember the days where sheepdog trials was actually carried on TV on the dog show and, at Country Calendar in the old days, and everyone really loves it. It's amazing how entertaining, and we have a massive crowd that turned up in the square at Palmerston North to watch that. I'd say the biggest crowd that watches any of our rural sports events would watch the sheepdog trials.
And that's your Rural News Wrap for this week.
This is Country Life on RNZ National 101 FM.
Gisborne grower Leader Brand has been around for a while, 50 years in fact. Just last year, they moved part of their growing operation into a greenhouse facility the size of 15 rugby fields. It allows them to grow more efficiently, more consistently. I met up with manager Billy Stackhouse to learn more.
So this is some baby rocket we're looking at here. This is wild rocket, which is a lot harder to grow than normal salad rocket. It doesn't grow very well at all in winter. It doesn't like to grow in winter. It's a summer Mediterranean plant, so we just grow it in here and we can't grow it outside.
Since officially opening last April, Leader Brand's Future Farms facility has allowed them to grow salad greens all year round. The innovative greenhouse technology essentially means they control the weather.
Yeah, I'm Billy Stackhouse, the Future Farms manager for Leader Brand. Yeah, so I manage the whole site from growing the crops to maintenance of the greenhouse to operation of the water treatment plants and all the systems that we have, right through to getting it to the factory.
What are some of the other elements that you can control in here? Obviously, so you're controlling the temperature. I suppose that's, in terms of the soil temperatures especially. You're controlling their water. So
we're controlling, obviously, weather. You have more security every week of supply with something like this, but also, damage from other weather events, getting, i.e. flooding that Gisborne gets quite often, and heavy rain damage that we can get on our crops. So any sort of weather damage is really mitigated with this. We capture 11 hectares worth of rain water, all hydraulically fed into our dam, goes underground, back up and over into the dam. So that holds about 50 million litres. Yeah, all comes back and gets cleaned through our plant, our water processing plant, and back into the greenhouse where we irrigate crops.
And so the growing conditions here obviously optimised by being protected in this greenhouse space. It's lovely and warm on a day like today. How hot does it get in here?
Yeah, pretty warm. It gets up to, we had 33, 34 degrees yesterday in here. It was about 28 outside. We'll get hotter than that. We do have ways to manage that. We have just been putting on some shading spray on top of the greenhouse. So that helps take the heat and sunlight out.
And I can see rows and rows of sprinklers overhead and irrigators. Obviously that helps as well, just keeping the soil nice and moist through different parts of the day.
Yeah, managing that soil moisture so the crops don't get too stressed out. We're all on automated irrigation, so it's all set up on a computer and I can manage that on a day-to-day basis when I need to.
The greenhouse has a self-sufficient supply of rainwater, harvested from the roof, and requires no additional heating during the winter months, instead trapping warmth from the sun. It's the culmination of several years' planning, with the initial project impacted by post-COVID delays. So this is probably some of the more mature rocket here.
Yeah, we'll be harvesting next week. Nice crops that are going quite well.
Good leafy greens, yeah.
One thing that doesn't stop growing in here is weeds.
What are some of the ways that you do manage problems like weeds, which, as you say, you can't always avoid, unfortunately?
Still a lot of manual labour involved with weeds. We have dropped herbicides. Rocket doesn't like to use herbicides, and the lettuce crops. We do have a steaming machine, helps kill the weed seeds in the soil.
And I see, obviously, still big enough that you could probably get some small tractors, small machinery through as well.
Yeah, we operate daily with 100 to 150 horsepower tractors in here, but yeah, we can get larger tractors as well. We have some electric machinery, an electric harvester and electric platforms, we call them, which are trailers that go alongside the harvester and stack our crates on.
I suppose having EVs helps cut down on emissions and things like that as well.
Oh yeah, it's really good, and they are really quiet, and it's actually a really good working environment for the guys.
How many people would be working in these spaces?
Team of about 6, including myself. So what we see down here is the hoover, which is the machine that allows us to recut our crops at one time. Tidies up all the debris left on the bed and takes it away.
So how often could you cut through lettuce like this that we're looking at? Like how many cycles?
3 times.
3 times. And I suppose that saves the plant on having to start from scratch, grow itself up.
Yeah.
This year, Leader Brand celebrates 50 years of operating, with Billy having been there for almost a fifth of those.
Yeah, about 9 years ago I started with Leader Brand sweet corn harvest supervisor, looking after the harvest crews. I was just out of uni, come up and did that for a few years and took on the role of our outdoor salad leaf junior crop manager and worked my way up into the crop manager role and now here.
Has it been exciting watching this site come to be?
Yeah, it has been a very exciting thing to be a part of, like the amazing technology that we're putting into the place, trying to make some data-driven decisions. Just, it's amazing what we can produce and the quality that it gives us. Yeah, but I think the company's excited to have its 50-year celebration coming up. It's changed a lot in the time I've been here, and obviously within the 50 years when Murray started out growing spuds and onions and now growing salads, grapes and fresh market crops. So yeah, it's definitely changed a lot.
Billy Stackhouse there at Leader Brand's Gisborne greenhouse.
We're downsizing a bit now from large-scale horticulture to a small avocado orchard further north in the Bay of Plenty. The wind had just blown through when producer Sally Round turned up at pruning time in August.
This morning we woke up and the gazebo that we normally have here was upside down against the shed.
Really?
Because the wind last night uprooted it, so yeah.
Weather challenges, that's all part of being in horticulture.
And we've just begun to, I think we appreciated that probably the first 2 or 3 weeks we were here.
Yeah.
Being inside jobs in Wellington, it didn't matter, right? As long as it was sunny in the weekend.
It's a big change moving from your IT job in Wellington to growing avocados, especially when the weather doesn't play ball. I'm with Tim Rosamond and Michele Ricou on their property near Katikati. Michele had popped out briefly from her home office. Her job working remotely as an IT service manager came with her to enable Tim to get onto the orchard.
We were both in jobs where the phones were ringing all the time, lots of issues and escalations, and just everything just keeps...
What was that moment when you said, I need to go and grow avocados in the Bay of Plenty?
I think the main light bulb was some very good friends of ours They have an orchard about 20 minutes from here. And we did a road trip at Easter, and we called in to see them on the way back down to Wellington. And we were standing on their deck, looking out over their orchard. The sun was shining. Wellington was having a typical Easter weather. Weather was terrible. We were like 10 degrees warmer up here, and we looked at each other and went, wow, this looks like a pretty cool lifestyle. And you don't live in Wellington for the weather. So we felt like, okay, now's a good time.
Did you know anything about growing things beforehand?
Ironically, Michelle's got the green thumbs.
I love growing. I've loved growing vegetables ever since I was a kid. Yeah, I used to sell them to the neighbours.
And were you from rural backgrounds yourselves?
No, not at all. No.
So this was the deep end.
Deep end. We're standing outside the shed. It's just off one of the main roads towards Katikati, isn't it?
Yes. In fact, this road that we're on has actually got some of the best performing both kiwi fruit and avocado orchards. So we've definitely bought in the right location. And we're not far above sea level, which means our frost risk is quite low here as well.
How many hectares?
3.8 hectares in total, of which 3.4 is planted out in avocado trees.
And how many trees, and what sort are you growing?
So we grow Hass, which is about 85% of the world's avocados. And we have 260 of these big trees that are coming up 30 years old.
Yes, they are big trees, aren't they? I was just going to say.
Believe it or not, these trees were actually 50% bigger than this when we arrived.
So you've done a lot of work over the 3 years you've been here.
Yeah. This, I would say, especially this part of the orchard would probably be unrecognisable from 3 and a bit years ago. There wasn't any light getting onto the ground, so the ground was just bare dirt.
So the branches would have been all joining up almost, and it had been quite dark in here.
It was like going into one of those European cathedrals. You know, it was cold, even in summer it was cold and it was dark.
Yeah.
And when we did the pruning, it was like the worst storm had ever come through.
Yes.
People say we escaped Cyclone Gabrielle, but we had it here.
Yeah.
Did that improve production?
Yes.
How much by?
Well, the thing with avocado trees is the pruning you do today is for production in 2 and 3 years' time. So we're only just getting to that point now where we're starting to get fruit back onto the parts of the tree that we pruned off. But the good thing about it now is that first year's harvest, all of our fruit was in the top third of the tree. So when it came to the harvesting time and the cost of harvest, it was astronomical.
What did you do, ladders?
We picked just over 200 bins that year, and only 4 of those bins were picked from the ground. All the rest were picked with the ladders. So so that's when we decided we needed to do something to get production closer to the ground. So the 50% prune was our first approach to how do we get these trees better under control.
And what are we seeing now? Should we go up and have a look and walk down some of the rows?
Yep. So you'll see where we've painted the ends of the trees to help protect them against fungal infection. But those limbs that we pruned off would have been all the way out.
Wow.
They were like 12 metres high. So now you can start seeing we're starting to get avocados back on the areas that we've pruned off.
Yep.
So now we can actually pick from the ground on some of these trees.
And
as
still
opposed to
way up the top there.
Yeah, we're still work in progress.
Yeah.
Our pruning program is going to take us 8 to 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
And do you get workers in to do that?
No, the first year we got a contractor in because I still had my learner plates on. But the last 2 lots of pruning I've been doing myself. So
and that was a big learning curve for you.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
what did you do?
I never owned a chainsaw. The good thing is the community in this area is very sharing. There's lots of field days, lots of opportunities to talk to other growers. So I normally go on every field day that's on offer, and we wander around other orchards, looking at what they've been doing. But no 2 orchards are the same, so you've sort of got to pick what might work for you. Just ask questions. One thing I underestimated coming from the IT industry was how much information used to come at you every day, and you used to be able to make sense of it because technology changes so rapidly. So coming to this industry, I was always in that mindset of, I'm just going to learn. I'm just going to learn, talk to people, subscribe to all the online publications I can, and just absorb as much as I can. So in 3 years, it's sort of been drinking from the fire hose But I finally feel like now I've got enough information. I just need the experience of just applying what I've learned.
And we're moving into the picking sort of season, which goes on a long time. How's the fruit looking?
They are alternate bearing. So last year we had our biggest crop. This year we're having a much lighter crop. But we actually timed that pretty well because the first 2 years the returns for growers weren't very good. Last year the returns were actually the best they'd been for a little while. The first year we arrived here was Cyclone Dovie. The second year we had Cyclone Gabriel. The nemesis of avocado trees is wind, because once that fruit starts rubbing, the fruit quality gets impacted and all that fruit gets rejected out of export. And it's really only the export quality fruit that you make a decent return on as a grower. Last year we sort of banked a little bit, so this year we've gone harder on the pruning. So rather than spacing the pruning out over 8 to 10 years, we're now looking to accelerate some of that.
So we could take you through to where Tim's just done some pruning.
Yeah.
You'll actually see what, when we say it looks like a storm's hit.
Yes.
Well, they are beautiful trees, aren't they? I mean, you feel like having a picnic under them. They're that sort of tree.
And that's what it is. We find people coming from overseas actually say, wow, it's like being in a park.
Most people coming into the industry for the first time wouldn't choose an overgrown avocado orchard, would they? They probably want to come in at a sort of a much easier level. Did you know what you were in for?
Yes and no. I knew what sort of the main jobs I would be doing would be. The scale of those jobs, though, was quite overwhelming. In the corporate world, you might have weekly, monthly or quarterly goals that you might be focused on. You might even have an annual goal. Here, when I'm talking about having an 8 to 10 year goal, you've got to break things down into manageable chunks. You know?
Otherwise, you just look out and go, oh my goodness,
I've
got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, where do you start? Yeah.
But it didn't take long before reality set in for the townies turned avocado growers.
We had a really good crop the first year, and then when I crunched all the numbers in the spreadsheet and I found out that we didn't make any money that year, I was like, wow, if that's a year that we've had a good crop and we didn't make any money, then I'm not looking forward to a year we have a bad crop. So that's what made us think, okay, Michele was threatening that I'd have to go and get a real job. And I was trying to avoid that for as long, so I'm like, okay, so what else can we do?
So what happened was we got a whole lot of new friends that we'd made over for a sort of an early Christmas dinner. There must have been about 20 people. And Tim took them around the orchard because even though they lived in the area, they hadn't really been on the orchard. So he was gone for like 45 minutes. And I'm like, oh, it's not that big. And when they came back, they were like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. And it just sprung from there.
The Michele's talking about is their launch into tourism, hosting an avocado experience. So what percentage is it providing in terms of income?
At the moment, I would say it's probably about 25%. But it's a highly profitable 25%. I was asked actually by one of the Tourism Bay of Plenty people, they said, what's your 5-year vision, Tim? Where do you want to be in 5 years? And I'm like, oh, and I said, actually what would be great was in 5 years' time, the tourism part was the main income stream. That would be a good outcome. Then we're a bit more in control of our own destiny. I think if we're expecting the avocado industry to all of a sudden go back to the heydays of 10 years ago, I don't think that's going to happen.
They take the visitors on a tour of the orchard and finish up with a tasting session. Last summer, they had about 500 tourists.
Well, we cover off all the interesting things like about how the season operates, how the flowers work. So that's a unique thing about avocados as well, how the flowers are both female and male. And also our story about how we went from IT to growing avocados.
The bees?
The bees, we talk about the bees, because there's a massive amount of learning that I've had to go through about bees and pollination and how all that works. And
do you have your own bees on site?
No, we don't. And we explain why we don't have bees here, and that's because we're a monocrop. We have more than enough food for bees for 6 weeks of the year when our trees are flowering, but the rest of the time we don't have any food, which means if we had hives here all year round, they would be off foraging, which means when we want them back here focused on the avocados, they may have got a better offer down the road.
So you just rely on them coming?
No, we have a beekeeper.
Oh, you have a beekeeper?
Who we have an agreement with.
Great.
Great guy. So we wait until 5% of our flowers have opened, and then I contact the beekeeper, and he'll wait till night time till all the bees are back in the beehives. He closes up the beehives, they get loaded on the back of his truck, and they arrive here in the middle of the night. And then we put the beehives out, open all the beehives up again, so in the morning when the bees are looking for breakfast, it's avocado flowers for the next 6 weeks.
There's a smorgasbord awaiting them.
Yeah, and we have so much food for the bees that our beekeeper normally brings in 20 hives each year. He takes away about 30 because they just keep reproducing. But it's nice to know he gets something out of it as well. And there is such a thing as avocado honey, which we found last year. So for our gourmet tour, we offered avocado honey for people to try, and the feedback's been amazing. So this year, he's going to retain a lot more of the honey, and we're going to jar that up and sell that as well.
The history of avocados, the culture and traditions around avocado, have you had to sort of gen up on that?
Yeah, that's definitely been part of my research and learning about where they originated from, what the original uses of avocado were. Ironically, it was known as poor man's butter. I'm always picking up information. And like little anecdotes, like when the Super Bowl was on in America, guacamole and the Super Bowl are synonymous, right? Everyone that has a Super Bowl party at their home, there's always guacamole. Well, there's enough guacamole consumed on that one day of the Super Bowl to use half of all of New Zealand's avocados.
That's incredible.
So that puts it into context. We are a very small part of the overall global avocado world.
But there have been gluts of avocados, haven't there?
Yeah, that's the supply and demand. We don't have a Zespri or a Fonterra model for avocado growing, which means it's a little bit of the Wild West. Anybody can plant avocado trees. And that's what happened 10 years ago. Everyone was planting, assuming the money would always be there. So the supply got well ahead of demand. And mostly it was Australia that was the golden goose for New Zealand for many years, because 80% of our exported avocados used to end up in Australia.
But then they started planting.
Yeah, Western Australia in particular.
Yeah.
And the Western Australian avocado season mirrors the New Zealand season. So now when Queensland runs out of avocados, they can just ship them over from WA. And up until last year, it was, sorry, New Zealand, we don't need your avocados anymore.
Where is the biggest demand coming from for avocados now?
I'd say in the Asian markets at the moment. When you look at global consumption, Central American countries lead the way. I think Mexico's 8.5 kilos of avocados per person per year. China is 200 grams. But India is the other big country that's really growing at the moment. Given a lot of their population are vegetarian, I think the story with avocados having lots of good healthy fats and oils really fits well with somebody trying to lead a vegetarian diet as well. So you won't need many Indians to start consuming a little bit more avocado, and all of a sudden there won't be enough supply again. Yep. And I think the rain's about to come too by the feel of that.
The rain is. More rain.
Yeah, yeah.
You have become expert at picking out the avocado merch, I see. You've got avocados on your sweatshirts, you've got the avocado baseball cap, and you've got the avocado tablecloth. Oh, and
socks.
Michelle's even pointing out avocado socks that Tim's wearing.
We're all in on avocados. No, there's our mission. There's our mission statement there. No, to share our passion for avocados with visitors from all over the world, creating lasting memories and a lifelong love of avocados. So that's what we're... So I often ask my visitors, how are we doing? Are we on mission? And often they go, absolutely. So
this is the shed where they end up?
If we have a bigger group, we'll set up the gazebo. If we just have a smaller group, we'll just do it in... So the shed with my nice curtain there that partitions off my mess on that side, this becomes tour HQ for most of the time. Michele would say I overspent on the toy budget. No, with everything that we needed for the orchard. So there wasn't a lot of capital left over to start spending money on a tourism operation. So we did it the first year, we pretty much did it on the smell of an oily rag. And now we're starting to get a bit more confidence, so we're just starting to invest. And we've also had some of the tour operators say, how big can you go? Like, could we bring a 40-seater coach in here? So I've now sounded out some other growers that are in a similar situation to myself, self-employed, living in the area, who I know could also provide a similar sort of walking, talking experience. Hopefully we will expand and we'll have other people, other locals that we can use as part of the as part of the tour.
Time to take a tortilla chip and guess the secret sauce behind Tim and Michelle's special guacamole.
Coriander.
Chili.
A bit of chili, a little bit of spice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jalapenos.
There's a bit of kick in there. Yep.
Jalapeno. Yep.
Is there some lime?
Yes, lime juice. There's a little bit. There's some red onion and tomato. Yeah, and a bit of salt. Bit of Himalayan salt. Yeah.
I got the main ingredients.
Yes.
What do you love most about being an avocado grower?
I love being outdoors, and also love the fact that we're growing something that actually has such a big health benefit for so many people. So if we can help do our little bit to increase demand, I feel like we're doing our little bit, helping people live healthier lives by growing something that we know is good for people.
Avocado grower Tim Rosamond. Sally was also talking to Michele Ricou at their orchard near Katikati.
Hi, I'm Joanna Pearsall and I live in the North Coromandel, and you're listening to Country Life on RNZ National.
Earlier this year, we saw what agritourism had meant for the Tora Walk in Wairarapa as it celebrated 30 years. Today, a growing number of farms are diversifying into agritourism, sharing their bit of country life through farm walks and other rural experiences. Ro and Ed Palmer, along with sons Selby and Harry, are the fourth generation to run Te Aratipi Station near Waimarama. The particularly scenic coastal Hawke's Bay sheep and beef farm is one of the latest to add a farm walk, as well as farm stays and tours, on-farm golf, hot tub and wilderness experiences. I set off with Ro to find out more as the family opened for their second walking season.
Oh, look, here's some walkers. Hi, guys.
Taking the easy route, eh?
Yeah. How's it going so far? A little bit windy. I've actually got Raid in New Zealand here.
Oh.
Hiya.
Hi. So what time did you set off this morning?
10 o'clock.
Oh, you guys have made good progress then.
I think so. We've done nearly 6,000 steps and an hour later we're doing all right.
Yeah, just taking our time though, stop and enjoying the views.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Definitely coming over the hill and seeing the ocean.
That crest, yeah.
Hopefully getting to the top.
And jump on the back.
Totalling more than 1,200 hectares off the coast of Hawke's Bay, Te Aratipi Station has views stretching out to Te Motu or Kura, also known to locals as Bear Island. It's one of many highlights walkers can enjoy while out on one of two trails across the farm.
We come from Auckland.
Oh wow, so you've travelled a wee way for this?
Yeah, we flew down. Good way to burn off some of the vinos from last night.
And it's from tomorrow. Earn them for tonight.
Get the treats, yeah.
Your first farm walk that you guys have done, or?
No, we've done a couple.
And my first.
Yeah, for the guys,
my
yes,
first,
but we've done a few usually with girlfriends, but we thought we'd do stuff with the husbands for once, so yeah. It's nice.
So they actually do the work.
Yeah, because they don't believe us, you know?
Yeah, and that's good. It's a lot of fun.
And all colour coordinated today too.
Yes, and you've come very well organised, some good walkers.
Yeah. Gifted some amazing hats as well, which are great to have on a sunny hot day like today.
The merch is perfect.
That wind's probably quite nice.
It is
refreshing.
It's the perfect day for it.
This is only the second season the farm has been open to walkers, with the trails opening on Labour weekend and running through until about June.
My name is Edward Palmer. I am on Te Aratipi Station, 1,200 hectares with sheep and cattle, which are Angus and Romney.
I'm Ro Palmer from Te Aratipi Station, and we have recently started a new agritourism venture offering some amazing Hawke's Bay farm experiences. These include some gorgeous farm walks, farm golf during summer, accommodation, and a family wilderness experience, and much more.
How do you find that fits in with the farm operations?
It's really just the start of it, and have to figure out the stock side of things, where to have cattle and sheep and make sure everyone's safe. No, beautiful walks with stunning scenery and views of the sea and ranges and cities and everything really.
I suppose one of the other really special aspects of the farm here is that multi-generations. You're fourth generation, the boys, you guys are fifth generation, eh?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to you to still be on the land?
Oh, well, it is a privilege. So we're lucky enough to be able to do that and have a solid grounding behind us with what's happened in the past with my great-grandfather, old Selby, down to JJ, my grandfather, and then my dad, Selby. And, hopefully we can carry it on. We'll see. Time will tell.
We'll see if Selby and Harry want to take on the challenge.
Yeah.
It absolutely is a privilege, and I think it's just, I always sort of like to think of it as that, you know, in the Hawke's Bay they always talk about terroir for wineries, but I feel like we have our own sense of place as well here. It's, you know, you come up the drive and you can just feel the love and the passion and the heritage. And it would just be crazy not to kind of share that or continue that, because it is a really special place.
For Ed and Ro Palmer, it's a bit of a juggle running the farm and agritourism business. While Dad Ed and older son Selby head off to tend to farm duties, Mum Ro and younger son Harry are set to take me for a tour of the farm. We're off to the tippy top of the 600-metre peak to Aratipi.
Comes out at about 3,000 acres. And yeah, a real mix of, sort of rolling hills to steep hill country as well. So yeah, we are at the moment driving on the day one walk, the Te Aratipi walk, which we've got walkers on at the moment. So but you're looking at the top of the farm up there. So that patch of bush is the tippity top of the farm.
And as you say, beautiful views out to the coast, to Waimarama, and behind us to Mata Peak and Kahuranaki as well.
Yep, all the way up to Mahia and Portland Island, and then sweeping past Napier, and then down past, the Kawekas and Ruahinis, and even on a clear day, as far as the Manawatu Gorge.
Wow.
And on a clear day as well, you can see the top of Mount Ruapehu. So a really nice aspect of the bay up here. And, well, we think it's pretty darn special. So these are the cabins that we originally built them for us. We do a lot of hosting up here, so with friends and family. You can go inside, Harry. But yes, you can stay up here as well. You can open that door, Harry, all on your own, big boy. Come on in. So it's basically based on like a backcountry New Zealand hut.
Gorgeous.
We sort of wanted to stay true to like our place. We're not a modern, trendy place. Yeah, so, and here we go. Here's old Selby here.
Oh, wow.
Here is our legacy. So that is old Selby.
And that is who young Selby takes his name after.
Yes. So, he keeps a watchful eye on anyone in the cabin.
As you say, the cabins were originally a COVID project for yourselves.
Yeah.
What was it that led you to include the agritourism and integrate that into part of the farm operations?
I think it's kind of just happened naturally, to be honest. So I was working in town for about 10 years, being stubborn, kind of wanting to do my own thing while Ed was patiently waiting maybe for me to come back to the farm. And I think, I sort of turned 40 and decided that it was time for me to do something else on the farm in addition to the bookkeeping, and to be there more for Ed, and just learning more about the farm and farming and contributing more hands-on instead of sitting at a computer. And and then the venture sort of just stemmed from my background essentially. So I've always been in hospitality and events and tourism, and so it kind of combines my background and what we've got here, and voila.
And certainly you're very much involved in it, giving the farm tours, taking people around, as you say, explaining their history. What are some of the other aspects of the agritourism? I saw we passed the sign for the golf course.
Oh yes, so we offer quite a few different experiences. So in addition to the walks, we have got a farm golf course. So the Palmers are big golfers, and Wairanga used to have an amazing farm golf course, and they decided to finish up, and they actually gave us their mower. So we basically jumped on the mower and sort of Ed had some mates over from England one summer and decided to mow a green here and then another one there, and one thing basically led to another, and now we have a little 9-hole golf course that is used as a paddock most of the year, but come mid-December we sort of transform it back into the golf course. And it's not your perfect golf course with perfect greens. Ed's quite true to that. He doesn't want to fence off the greens.
It's a farm golf course.
Yeah, but it's still a challenging golf course. It is for golfers, but it's more of an experience in that you come up to the farm. We load you into the Can-Am, which is your golf cart. You've got Ed as your caddy and pro, and he drives you around, and it's just a lot of fun with some challenges. And just an experience really with amazing views. And so, we've had a great time doing that. I'm one of the chief fairway mowers and quite enjoy the sort of 5 hours on the tractor looking after the fairways.
Well, with views like this, I mean, you can't, that's probably quite a good office still.
Yeah, it is a great office. So, we're hoping to share that with more people this summer as well. I feel like our offering online can tap into all sorts of markets. I want locals to come and walk with me or play golf with me, and I've sort of priced things accordingly as well. And then basically the out-of-towners can kind of do that. In addition, they might want to do the farm tours, which are probably more targeted towards the internationals. We've got a hot tub experience, which is probably targeting the internationals in the off-season. And then we've got a family wilderness adventure too. We want more families to get out and about. And, we were part of the Open Farm Day earlier in March, and it used to be that Kiwis were always associated to a farm. They always went to an auntie or an uncle's or a grandparent's farm, but sort of that's changing now. So it's quite good getting kids onto the farm, the schools onto the farm, families onto the farm doing farm stuff. And they always have a really great time, not just the kids but the adults too.
Is it challenging having agritourism as part of the regular farm operations, moving people around stock, lambing times, making sure gates are closed or open when they need to be?
Yeah, we not yet, only because we are obviously relatively new. But as we get busier, possibly, it might come to a time where we need to put stiles at every gateway and avoid opening gates because they're bound to get left open at some stage. Yeah, we will just say we'll manage that as we go. It's the good thing about us sort of growing slowly is that we can sort of feel our way through each season and go from there and make changes. The same with experiences. We might want to develop new ones or get rid of some of the existing ones. We had our first elopement up here 2 weeks ago, which was really cool. That was also my past life was weddings and events. So, we were sort of a bit precious about maybe sharing this spot with another couple, but we had a really great time, and we're happy to offer that maybe to a few couples each season. But we'll just see.
As you say, you're a new operator, but would you have an idea of, as a percentage maybe, what the agritourism contributes to the farm operation or how big a part of it is?
For our one, we're still lucky that our sheep and beef operation is still fine for our family. I've set it up more maybe selfishly with the idea that hopefully it'll grow, and whether or not, depending on where farming goes, I can either, pump things up or tone them down. There might be a stage where we will need to be dependent on agritourism, and that's when I'll need to ramp things up. But in these initial stages, while we feel our way through, it's really mainly to keep me out of trouble and just sort of feel my way through and what we're doing.
So more for the love of it than out of necessity.
It kind of is. It maybe shouldn't be. It's probably, but it is a passion and it is a love, and it is. It's more than making money, particularly here. We're dealing with small numbers. Hopefully big experiences, but small numbers and small groups, and we'll just see where it goes.
Parts of the farm still covered in indigenous vegetation have been protected under QE2 covenants, designating them as areas under the protection of the National QE2 Trust. The high peak from which the farm takes its name, Te Aratipi, also holds significance for local mana whenua.
Recently we actually had a community day celebrating our new covenants, where we brought in Baden Barber was kind enough to come and chat to us. He's recently translated Mohi's diaries, which are some written accounts of around here from probably, I think, the late 1800s to early 1900s, which is really special. And Baden has translated it and came up to talk to some of the community about Te Aratipi and in particular its ties to the locals and the Waimarama people, and we found out that Te Aratipi and where the other covenants are, was a seasonal place where the people would come up and they would basically set up camp and they would hunt and gather food for a season and then head back down to Waimarama. Yeah, the Ngāhere that we're going to was a really special place to gather food for the people. It was really special to be in the bush, hearing those stories from Baden, sort of, visualising it a little bit more and just feeling a little bit more real. One of the experiences we are in the process of trying to create is talking more about the historical side and then the settler side and then the now, and kind of pulling it all together. I don't know exactly the number of Remu in here, but at least 10 large Remus. So special. Our main birds probably up here would be kiraru, tui. We're really lucky we've got the rifleman as well, which obviously New Zealand's smallest birds. They're quite special. Yeah, bellbirds, lots of kotari and piwakawaka. I have seen a shining cuckoo through here once too. Mohi bush also has one of the bat species. So hopefully once this really starts kicking into gear, it would be awesome.
And so how many hectares on the farm are QE2? Or how many QE2 blocks have you got?
We have got 3 QE2 blocks now. So this was winter of 21, and then the 2 others were just established earlier this year, which we'll take you to, which are Eastern and Western Bush. I think this one is, I'd have to double check, 9.5 hectares, and the other 13.5.
A big part of the agritourism you have here is also using that as an opportunity to help grow some of these native bush areas. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for every experience that people book, we allocate a native tree, and then we started our new annual tradition in Matariki weekend, where we will do an annual planting day, or perhaps it's going to grow to days, where the whole idea is we kind of wanted to mimic what they do in Italy around an olive harvest. So something similar, but getting all our native trees on site, sourced from some local nurseries and relevant plants to our land. And friends, family, and even guests to come and plant Matariki weekend, and then we'll have a lovely long shared lunch to celebrate the season. And I think people are becoming more and more conscious of giving back. It's a really nice feeling. We like to think that anyone that comes to stay with us, we sort of treat them like family, and a lot of them leave and keep in touch with us, and having a tree means that they can sort of really leave a little piece of them behind and come back to visit when they like. The cool thing about the covenants is that you really you get the job done. You're protecting bush for future generations, and once you've got that rolling as well, you work with some really great people. Like, we've got some good relationships with our QE2 rep and the regional council. There's lots of awesome funding opportunities to make sure you're doing the best and doing the bush right.
Agritourism provides an opportunity to help fund these restoration efforts. For every farm experience, the Palmer family plants a native tree on its annual planting day over Matariki weekend. It offers visitors a tangible, lifelong connection to the farm. As we make our way back to the homestead, we come across another walker, Tanya from Wellington, who's just finished the first of the 2 walking trails. You picked a good day for it. Blue skies, quite a breeze to keep you cool, I suppose, on those big hills.
Yeah, no, needed a bit of breeze up the top there. There's a little bit of up and a little bit of down, and then it repeats itself a few times, so it was quite nice having a bit of a breeze up there, yeah.
And you're off to do the next half of the farm now, I suppose?
I am indeed, yes. Yep, so I've knocked that bit off, so I'm off to do the other part, which I understand is going to be quite different. So there's lots of variety, it's really well marked, absolutely stunning views up the top. out over Waimarama. I'm a Hawke's Bay girl, born and bred, so I spent quite a bit of time sitting up the top there reminiscing about kind of, gorgeous Waimarama and the views and that. So it's absolutely stunning and lots of variety, which is fantastic. Just highly recommend it. Hosts are fantastic, really warm and welcoming. The lunch is fantastic. Oh, good, is it? I'm only halfway through it. Okay. There's lots of it. It's really reasonably priced. It's a fantastic walk. And beautiful country. It is just a stunning face of the country. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Wellington woman Tanya there, after finishing up the first half of the farm walk at Te Aratipi station in Hawke's Bay. I also spoke to Ro and Ed Palmer and their sons Selby and Harry. That's this week's Country Life. Thanks for joining us. You can also find photos and more information about the stories in this episode in our show notes. We love getting your feedback and ideas for future stories. You can reach us country@rnz.co.nz.
We'd hate for you to miss an episode of Country Life. To get every episode free to your phone, click follow on your app now. And if you enjoyed our show, give us a shout on social media or tell a friend by clicking the share button in this app.
Out in the field today were myself, Janina Schwanica, and Sally Round.
The show was produced and engineered by David Knowles and Mark Chesterman. Catch you next time.
Ka kite.